I'm Amber 35, and this Thanksgiving at our family's Washington cabin turned everything upside down. The gravy boat slips from my hands, crashing onto the kitchen floor. Thick sauce splatters my sweater, a bitter mark of my role here. In the dining room, forks scrape plates. Voices hum with laughter they've started eating without me. For 18 years, I cooked every holiday meal. Then my mom snapped, "Useless thing, bring food to your sister." Quickly. I don't answer. I set the tray down, turn, and stride out into the icy air. The bad things they are about to encounter will be understood by no one but this useless thing. Before I get to my story, I want to know what time and what city you are listening in. I'm happy to know how far my story goes. The next morning, my phone buzzes relentlessly on the motel bed where I crashed after storming out. 36 missed calls from Mom, her voicemails piling up. "Please come back." My fingers hover over the screen, then type 5 words. "The useless thing is busy." I hit send and toss the phone aside. The sting of her words from last night burns fresh, but something else churns inside, a realization that's been brewing for years. Since I was 17, I'd haul groceries through the Washington snow, chop onions until my eyes stung, and scrub pans while my sister soaked up the praise. Every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, I'd spend days prepping at our cabin while the family toasted her success. I thought it was love, until yesterday's slap of truth. Back at my apartment, I can't shake the weight. I open my laptop, needing distraction, and spot Mom's email open from when I borrowed it to print recipes. I shouldn't snoop, but my eyes catch a subject line: condo closing details. It's to my sister, dated last month. My stomach twists as I read. Mom and Dad wired her $20,000 for a down payment on a swanky Seattle condo. The same parents who called my modest apartment purchase reckless 2 years ago, refusing to help because I should save more. I scroll further. Another email mentions a family ski trip last winter to Aspen, no less. I wasn't invited. They never mentioned it. The betrayal lands like a punch. I keep digging, finding a message from my Aunt Mom's sister promising my sister Grandma's antique dining table for her new place. That table I loved as a kid, the one I'd hoped to inherit. It's perfect for her. The email reads as if I don't exist. My sister, the golden child, gets everything: money, heirlooms, trips, while I'm stuck slaving for their applause. I slam the laptop shut, heart pounding. Memories flood in. At 20, I spent my college breaks perfecting pie crusts for Mom's approval. At 25, I missed a work deadline to roast a turkey for Dad's clients. Last Christmas, I stayed up until 2 in the morning decorating the cabin while my sister bragged about her law firm wins. No one ever asked what I wanted. No one noticed me beyond the plates I set. My phone pings again, a group text from Mom. "Amber, we're planning Christmas at the cabin. Your sister's bringing colleagues, so make her favorite stuffing, the cranberry sauce, and those cheesy appetizers. Come early to set up, say 7. The nerve of it steals my breath. Not a word about yesterday. No apology for useless thing. Just more orders, as if I'm their caterer, not their daughter. I don't reply. Instead, I call Tracy, Mom's younger sister, who's always been different, quiet, observant. "I walked out last night," I say, voice steady. "Mom called me useless." Tracy sighs. "I saw how they treated you, Amber. I'm on your side." Her words feel like a lifeline. She tells me Jenna, her daughter, my cousin, was furious hearing about it. "She's done with their favoritism, too," Tracy adds. I hang up, staring at my phone. Another text from Mom pops up. "Don't forget the pecan pie, your sister loves it." My fingers itch to respond, but I hold back. The cabin's snowy isolation flashes in my mind, how they'll struggle without me when the roads ice over. I've always been their backbone, but they never saw it. Now they're about to. Hours later, my phone pings again, pulling me from the haze of last night's group text. It's Mom doubling down. "Amber, confirm you're bringing the stuffing and pecan pie for Christmas. Your sister's counting on you." The words sear like a fresh wound. No mention of her useless thing jab, no hint of regret, just another order for their Golden Girls' big holiday show. I let the message sit unanswered, my pulse quickening. By noon, I'm pacing my Seattle apartment, the sting of those emails still raw. $20,000 for my sister's condo, a secret ski trip grandma's table handed to her like a crown. I've been their invisible cook for 18 years, and they think I'll just keep serving. My fingers hover over the phone, then type a single word to the group chat: no. I hit send before I can second guess. The silence that follows feels like a held breath. Mom calls within minutes. Amber, what's this no about? Her voice is sharp, like I've spilled wine on her perfect tablecloth. I'm not cooking for Christmas. I say, steady but firm. I'm done being your hired help. She gasps, then recovers. This is for family, Amber. Your sister's bringing important clients. It's a big deal. I cut in. It's always a big deal for her. What about me? I've got a job, a life. When do I matter? The line goes quiet, her breathing uneven. She switches tactics. Let's meet and talk. That cafe on Pike Street tomorrow. I agree, mostly to see if she'll finally see me. Tracy texts right after heard about your no. Proud of you. Jenna, my cousin, chimes in. Mom's right. They've been unfair forever. Their support steadies me like a hand on my back. The next day, I walk into the cafe, the smell of coffee grounding me. Mom sits at a corner table, her purse clutched tight. Lips pursed. No smile, just a nod. Amber. This Christmas thing, you're overreacting, she starts, voice low but pointed. Your sister works so hard. We need you to pull through. I slide a notebook across the table, pages filled with tallies. 18 years of holidays, I've cooked 12 missed work deadlines for their parties, countless nights scrubbing dishes while they toasted her. When did you last ask what I need? I ask, voice calm but unyielding. She blinks, caught off guard. We appreciate you, she says, but it's hollow like a script. You appreciate what I do, I correct. Not me. Her face tightens, fingers gripping her mug. You're being selfish. Your sister needs this dinner to impress her firm. I lean forward. She's a lawyer, not a queen. She can figure it out. Mom's eyes narrow. We've always been a close family. Why are you doing this? For a moment, I see a flicker of guilt in her expression, but it's gone fast. I've been close to you, I say. But you've never been close to me. You've made that clear. I stand, leaving the notebook. I'm not coming to Christmas. Her voice cracks. You'd leave us like that. After everything, I pause at the door. You left me first, every holiday, every year. I walk out, the cafe's chatter fading behind me. My phone buzzes, another text from Mom pleading. I don't read it. Tracy calls as I step onto the snowy street. You okay? She asks. Yeah, I say, feeling lighter. I'm done carrying them. Jenna texts next, offering to meet up and talk. Their words, simple, real, remind me I'm not alone. But Mom's plea lingers, and I know this isn't over. They're not used to me saying no. Weeks later, I'm sprawled on a plush couch at a resort just outside Seattle, the hum of laughter wrapping around me like a warm blanket. Katie, my coworker friend, hands me a plastic cup of cider, her grin infectious. To no dishes, no demands, she toasts, clinking my cup. Zachary, another colleague, passes a plate of homemade cornbread, while Austin, a friend I met through Katie, scoops out lumpy but heartfelt pumpkin pie. The potluck spread lasagna, roasted veggies, brownies sits on a folding table, each dish a small gift from people who expect nothing but my company. For the first time in 18 years, Christmas isn't a chore. It's mine. I'd blocked Mom's number after our cafe showdown, her pleading texts left unread. Tracy and Jenna, my aunt and cousin, had texted their support, promising to join me for a holiday soon. My phone's been quiet since, no group texts ordering stuffing or pie, no calls guilting me back to the cabin. I lean back, sipping cider, the resort's cozy glow washing away years of resentment. These people, Katie, Zachary, Austin, see me, not just the meals I make. It's a freedom I never knew I could claim. Tracy calls midweek, her voice hushed over the line. Your mom and dad are in a mess, she says. The snow's brutal this year, roads to the cabin are half blocked. Your sister tried roasting a turkey, but it's still frozen solid. The potatoes charred. I bite my lip, holding back a laugh. They're hiring a caterer, Tracy continues. Cost them $500 last minute because no one's prepared. Your parents are at each other's throats over the bill. I nod, unsurprised. Mom and Dad leaned on me for perfect holidays, never seeing how it drained me. Now they're paying for it literally. Katie overhears setting down her fork. $500. That's rough. I shrug, voice calm. They thought I'd always show up, no questions asked. Austin chimes in, wiping crumbs from his shirt. Sounds like they're learning what happens when you take someone for granted. Zachary nods, adding, bet they're regretting that useless comment now. Their words spark a small, fierce smile on my face. The resort's chatter, the clink of cups, the warmth of this night. It's a life I didn't know I could build. My phone buzzes mid-meal, a text from my sister. Can you send your stuffing recipe? Clients are coming? I stare at the screen, her audacity almost funny. She's never lifted a finger for these dinners, yet expects me to bail her out. I hit delete, not replying. Let her scramble. Katie notices my expression. Family again, she asks. I nod. They're not my problem anymore. She squeezes my shoulder and we dive back into the potluck, passing plates, laughing over Austin's terrible pie crust. Tracy texts later, updating me. Your mom's stressed, says the caterer's late, and your dad's mad about the cost. They're blaming each other. Jenna chimes in. Your sister's freaking out, her clients expect a big show. I set the phone down, unbothered. The cabin's chaos feels distant, like a storm I've walked away from. I've spent years carrying their holidays, my own needs buried under their demands. Not anymore. At work, I'm hitting my stride. My latest marketing campaign landed a client, and my boss noticed no small feat after years of being overshadowed by family obligations. Katie stops by my desk, suggesting another potluck soon. You're glowing, she says, and I realize she's right. Saying no to the cabin wasn't just about one holiday, it was about choosing myself. My phone lights up again, another text from my sister. I don't open it. The weight of their expectations is gone, and I'm not going back. Days later, my phone lights up with another text from my sister. Amber, send me your cranberry sauce recipe. I'm hosting a client dinner. The nerve hits like a jolt. She's never touched a spatula in her life, yet expects me to hand over my work to save her show. I stare at the screen, fingers steady, and hit delete. No response. Let her figure it out. I'm back in my Seattle apartment, the quiet, a stark contrast to the resort's warmth last week. My sister's text isn't the only one. My Aunt Mom's sister messages next. Amber, you've upset everyone by skipping Christmas. Your sister needed you. The accusation stings, but only for a moment. I've heard it before, her siding with my sister, dismissing me as if I'm not family. I don't reply to her either. My silence is my answer now. At work, things are different. I'm a marketer, and my latest campaign just landed a major client. My boss pulls me aside, grinning. Amber, this is stellar. Keep it up. His words land like a rare gift, recognition I never got at home. I nod, a quiet pride settling in. For years, I juggled holiday prep with deadlines, always putting family first. Now I'm putting me first, and it shows. Katie swings by my desk, coffee in hand. You look lighter, she says, leaning against the cubicle wall. Ditching the family drama, agrees with you. I laugh, the sound genuine. It's like breathing for the first time, I admit. She invites me to a low-key dinner with her and Austin this weekend. No expectations, just pizza and bad TV. I say yes, without hesitation. Jenna texts later, her message short but loaded. Heard your mom's spiraling, says the holidays are ruined without you. Tracy follows up, her voice soft over the phone. Your sister's struggling to impress her clients. The catering fiasco didn't help. I lean back, picturing the cabin in disarray, empty plates, tense voices, my sister's polished facade cracking. I feel no guilt, just a strange calm. My phone buzzes again, another plea from my sister. Just send the recipe, Amber. It's not a big deal. I scoff louder than intended. Not a big deal, I've carried their holidays for 18 years. My own life shoved aside. I block her number the action final like closing a door. Katie notices my expression as we grab lunch. Family again, she asks. Not anymore. I say, my voice firm. Back home, I open my laptop tweaking a new campaign. My apartment feels like a sanctuary now, not a place to hide. I've missed deadlines for family before, but never again. Tracy calls updating me. Your parents are barely talking. Your dad's mad about the catering cost. Your mom's blaming him for pushing you away. Jenna adds a text. Your sister's client dinner flopped. Word's getting around. I set the phone down unbothered. Their mess isn't mine to clean. I'm done being their hired help. Months later, I'm scrolling through my phone in my Seattle apartment, the quiet hum of summer outside my window. A notification pops up, a local Washington community group on social media, buzzing with gossip. I shouldn't look, but curiosity pulls me in. A post catches my eye, a neighbor's comment about my family's disastrous Christmas at the cabin. Heard they paid a fortune for catering and still messed it up, it reads. Another reply mentions my sister's perfect family image crumbling. I set the phone down, a strange calm settling over me. Jenna texts, filling in the blanks. Your sister's losing clients, she writes. Her firm's big dinner flopped and word spread she couldn't pull off a simple holiday. I picture my sister, always polished, now scrambling to save face as a lawyer. Her reputation, built on the family facade I propped up for years, is cracking. I feel no urge to fix it. Tracy calls, her tone gentle but firm. Your mom's not doing well, she says. Stress from the holidays hit her hard, doctor's orders to rest. I nod, unsurprised. Mom's health has always been fragile under pressure, but I'm done carrying her burdens. The community group post spreads, likes piling up. Someone tags my Aunt Mom's sister, blaming her for stirring drama at the cabin. She kept praising one daughter while the other did all the work, a cousin's friend writes. I recognize the truth in it, but it doesn't hurt anymore. I've stepped out of their spotlight. My phone buzzes again, a call from Dad. I let it go to voicemail. His message is short. Amber, we need to talk. I delete it. My fingers steady. Then Mom tries her number, flashing. I block it just like I did my sister's. Katie stops by my apartment, pizza box in hand. Saw the online chatter, she says, kicking off her shoes. Your family's a hot topic. I shrug, grabbing a slice. Let them deal with it. She grins. You're a whole new Amber. I laugh, the sound light. My latest marketing project just got a promotion nod at work, and I'm planning a trip with Austin and Zachary, no family strings attached. This is my life now, not theirs. Jenna texts again, her words sharp. Your aunt's getting flack from neighbors, she's barely showing up to community stuff. I picture her, once the family's loudest cheerleader for my sister, now dodging whispers about her bias. The gossip isn't my doing, but it's a consequence of their choices. My sister's client list shrinks. Mom's health falters, Dad's calls go unanswered. They built this mess leaning on me for years while lifting her up. I open my laptop, checking work emails. A new campaign's due, and I'm ahead of schedule. Something I couldn't say when I was juggling their holidays. Katie notices my focus. You're killing it, she says, nodding at the screen. I smile, small but real. Feels good to be seen for me, not my cooking. Tracy calls later, her voice warm. Jenna and I are planning a barbecue, want in? I say, yes, no, hesitation. They're my family now, the kind that doesn't demand my labor. My phone lights up one last time, a text from my sister's new number. I don't read it. I block it, the action final, like turning a page. Their drama, their gossip, their consequences, they're not mine anymore. 5 months later, I'm standing in a friend's cabin just outside Seattle, the smell of roasted vegetables and fresh bread filling the air. Tracy slides a tray of cookies onto the table, Jenna pours wine, Katie sets out her famous macaroni, and Austin carves a small turkey we all pitched in to make. This Thanksgiving, my first without family, feels like a deep breath after years underwater. No one's demanding I serve, no one's praising someone else while I work. Just us, my chosen family, passing plates, laughing, being together. I'm Amber 35, and I've built something new since walking out last year. My phone's been silent from mom, dad, my sister blocked after their endless calls and texts. I don't miss the weight of their expectations. Katie grins across the table, raising her glass, to Amber, who finally got her holiday. I laugh, clinking back, a warmth spreading through me. Jenna nudges my shoulder. This beats their chaos, she says, and Tracy nods, her smile soft. You deserve this. Back in my family's world, things have unraveled. Jenna got a call from a cousin last week, spilling the latest. Your mom's barely hosting anymore, she told me. After last Christmas, they tried another catered holiday, cost them $700 this time. It was a mess, food cold, everyone arguing. My sister, always the star, couldn't keep up her perfect image. Her law firm's clients dropped off, whispers about her dysfunctional family spreading through Washington's tight-knit community. Dad stopped talking to neighbors, embarrassed by the gossip. Mom's health hasn't improved, stress keeping her on edge. I don't feel triumph, just peace. Their chaos isn't my fault, it's the result of years treating me like hired help while lifting my sister up. I blocked their last attempt to reach me, a voicemail from Dad, his voice clipped, asking to fix things. I deleted it without listening. My sister tried a new number, texting about family unity. I blocked that too, no hesitation. At work, I'm thriving. My latest marketing campaign won a regional award, and my boss offered a raise. I'm planning a trip with Austin and Katie, no obligations, just fun. Tracy pulls me aside as we clear plates together. Your parents asked about you, she says quietly. I told them you're done. Jenna overhears, adding, they're out of chances. I nod, grateful for their support, their clarity. The cabin's warmth wraps around us as we eat. No one rushing, no one serving. I taste every bite, macaroni, turkey, Tracy's cookies, savoring the moment, not worrying about anyone's approval. My phone stays dark. No pings from family I've left behind. Their holidays, once my burden, are theirs to fumble now. Last I heard, they're skipping Thanksgiving altogether. Neighbors stopped inviting them, tired of the drama. This is my life now, chosen, not assigned. Setting boundaries didn't just free me from their demands, it showed me my worth. I'm not the hired help, never was. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, know this. Walking away can be hard, but it's how you find yourself. You deserve to be seen, to choose who lifts you up. I did, and I'm never going back.
A wife who can't even handle basic chores has no place in this house, my mother-in-law spat, her voice dripping with disdain. Once again, I was the scapegoat, her sharp gaze slicing through me like a blade. My sister-in-law added her own sting to the moment. I'll take care of Mom and Everett, so you don't need to be here anymore. Besides, you always look so exhausted and miserable. Her words cut deep. The irony was almost laughable. She, who never lifted a finger, had the audacity to say that. Everett, I silently begged, don't you see how cruel they're being? But I already knew better than to hope for his support. His voice was just as heartless. Mom and Monica are right. A wife who prioritizes work over house chores is useless. And honestly, I've got things covered with the new part-timer at the cafe, so I don't need you either. Pack your bags and leave. I stood there, frozen, as the three of them hurled their venomous words and cast me aside like trash. Clenching my fists, I kept my eyes on the floor, forcing myself to stay composed. Finally, I spoke, my voice steady despite the fury boiling inside me. Understood, I'll go. But in my heart, a quiet resolve took root. They had placed every burden on me, and soon, they would pay for it. My name is Miranda. I'm 32 years old, balancing a full-time job while managing all the household responsibilities. These days, many women continue working after marriage, and I was no exception. My job was important to me. I had been with the same company since graduation. One chaotic morning, just as I was about to leave for work, Everett stopped me. Hey, Miranda, can you handle these? He handed me a pile of receipts. The tax return deadline is coming up. I sighed internally. Why can't you take care of your own cafe's finances? Still, I kept my tone neutral. but Everett just shrugged and muttered, "You know I'm terrible with numbers. You're always such a lifesaver, thanks." That was Everett, always expecting me to pick up the slack. We had been married for 5 years. Back when he was working at a restaurant I used to visit, we hit it off, started dating, and eventually tied the knot. His lifelong dream had been to open a cafe, and now he was finally running one. Yet when it came to anything beyond brewing coffee, bookkeeping, ordering supplies, paying bills, he conveniently left it all to me, just like he was doing now with the taxes. I barely had time to process my frustration before my mother-in-law approached me at the door. "Miranda, I feel like having Chinese food today. Take care of it, will you?" I swallowed my irritation and nodded. "Understood. Could you wash the rice in the meantime?" Her expression soured immediately. "Why should I? I don't want to come home early just to deal with that. Oh, and Monica and the kids are visiting this weekend, so make sure you cook meals they'll enjoy." "What? Oh, okay." The news caught me off guard. When I first got married, I had pictured a quiet life with just Everett and me, but that dream was shattered when he insisted his mother move in with us. "My dad passed away, and Monica has her own family. I don't want Mom to live alone. Besides, this house is big enough for all of us," he had reasoned. I hadn't had much say in the matter. Once we moved in, I realized the extent of the chaos. My mother-in-law despised cooking and spent most of her pension eating out. The house was a mess, and Everett, believing housework was a woman's duty, refused to lift a finger. As a result, while working full-time, I found myself shouldering all the household responsibilities alone. Monica, my sister-in-law, often dropped by with her children. Every time she did, the workload doubled. The mere thought of her visit that weekend left me exhausted. I gritted my teeth and pushed through the week. Then, the weekend arrived, and with it, an announcement I wasn't prepared for. "Miranda," Monica said casually, "I'm actually getting a divorce. I'll be moving in with the kids next month, so you'll need to take care of us." I blinked, stunned. "What? I didn't even know you were getting divorced." "Are you okay?" Her expression darkened. "What, do you have a problem with it?" I quickly backtracked. "No, I was surprised, that's all. When are you moving in?" "The sooner, the better." At first, I tried to be optimistic. Maybe, unlike her mother, Monica would help with chores. After all, she was a stay-at-home mom. But that illusion crumbled the moment she settled in. Monica had never been expected to do housework growing up, and it showed. She spent her days lounging in front of the TV, snacking, while her children, picky eaters, required separate meals. As if that wasn't enough, I ended up handling their kindergarten drop-offs too. I later learned that Monica's divorce stemmed, in part, from her unwillingness to contribute to her own household. Meanwhile, my workload at the office had skyrocketed. I was buried in a major project, leaving early and returning late. Every ounce of my energy was spent before I even stepped through the front door. And yet, the moment I got home, the complaints started. "Why isn't dinner ready? Why are you always late?" When I started falling behind on chores, my mother-in-law and Monica unleashed their wrath. "The laundry is piling up," my mother-in-law snapped. "You can't just neglect your duties because you're busy." I tried to reason with her. "Mother, I work full-time too." But Monica cut me off. "Listen to the way she talks back. It's terrifying. We already have food made for us, so what's her excuse?" I took a deep breath. "Monica, since you're home all day, could you help out a little?" My mother-in-law scoffed. "Why should Monica work? Your husband owns a business. You shouldn't even need a job. If you insist on working, at least handle the household properly." I stared at them in disbelief. They spoke as if their twisted logic was the norm. That night, at my wit's end, I confronted Everett. "I understand you're busy with the cafe," I said, "but your mother and sister refuse to lift a finger. I can't keep doing this alone." Everett's eyes narrowed. "Stop badmouthing my family." "That's not what I'm doing," I insisted, "but this is impossible for one person to manage. Can't you back me up a little?" His response was cold. "I run a business, Miranda. You wouldn't understand. Being just an employee, don't dump your problems on me." He turned over and went to sleep, leaving me seething. But then, an idea struck me. The next day, I took time off and ordered several new appliances, anything that could ease my burden: a high-efficiency washing machine, a robot vacuum, and state-of-the-art cooking gadgets. If no one was going to help me, I would let technology do it instead. When the deliveries arrived, my mother-in-law and Monica gathered around. eyeing the boxes with suspicion. "You bought all this without asking us?" my mother-in-law demanded. "The old washing machine still works just fine." "Yes," I replied sweetly, "but this one will cut my laundry time in half." Her lips pursed. "And what are these other boxes?" "A robot vacuum, a smart cooking appliance." And for the first time in a long while, I smiled. Before I realized it, they had backed me into a corner in the living room, their arms folded, eyes burning with disapproval. Everett sat beside them, his smirk filled with smug satisfaction. My mother-in-law's voice boomed through the room. "How dare you waste household money on all this junk? Are you just trying to dodge your responsibilities?" I took a steady breath. I was only trying to make things more efficient, not avoid my duties. She scoffed, unwilling to hear reason. "People these days rely too much on machines." Monica nodded in agreement. "Exactly, Everett may own a business, but that doesn't mean you can throw away money on things we don't need." Everett gave a knowing nod, as if his mother and sister had spoken absolute truth. I wanted to argue, to stand my ground, but Monica cut me off before I could. "You're always looking for shortcuts, yet you still can't handle basic chores. What were you thinking?" Her words stung, but I held my tongue, which only seemed to enrage my mother-in-law more. And then, she dropped the bombshell that shattered everything. "A lazy wife who won't pull her weight has no place in this house." I stood frozen, staring at her in shock as she glared back with cold finality. Monica piled on, sneering, "We have Mom and Everett. We don't need you here. All you do is mope around like some useless parasite." I turned to Everett one last time, hoping, just maybe, he would see reason. "Everett, this is too much. Your mother and sister are being completely unfair." But his smirk only deepened. "They're absolutely right. A wife who can't manage a household is worthless, and honestly, who wastes money on expensive gadgets just to make her own life easier?" Then, with a cruel glint in his eyes, he uttered the words that sent me reeling. "Besides, I've already moved on. There's someone new. She's a cute part-timer at the cafe, so much better than you. You're not needed here anymore. Pack your bags and get out." His icy tone left me momentarily breathless. My legs nearly gave out as they laughed, mocking me for being a failure of a wife. I clenched my fists, my head bowed, my entire being shaking with fury, but instead of breaking down, I took a deep, steadying breath and lifted my gaze. "Fine," I said, my voice eerily calm. "I understand. I'll leave." My mother-in-law snorted. "Good riddance. We'll be much better off without you." Ignoring her final insult, I walked over to a drawer in the living room and pulled out a stack of papers. Holding them up, I turned to Everett. "Then let's make it official. Let's get a divorce." His smug expression faltered. "You already had the papers ready?" He let out a short laugh. "Fine, I'll sign. Just don't come crying when you regret it." With an indifferent shrug, he scribbled his name across the document, sealing our fate in ink. That same day, I packed my things and left for a short-term apartment. Not one of them saw me off. Soon after, I filed the divorce papers at City Hall. Free from that toxic household, I rented my own place and, for the first time in years, felt truly independent. Almost at the same time, I accepted a long-overdue promotion at work, one I had turned down before because I was too busy managing their lives. Stepping into my new managerial role, I rediscovered my passion for my career. Without anyone dragging me down, it felt like I could finally breathe again. Then, about a week later, my former mother-in-law started calling me. I ignored her every time. I had no desire to hear whatever nonsense she had to say. A full year passed. One holiday, while lounging at home, I noticed her number flash on my phone again. This time, I picked up, determined to put an end to whatever game she was playing. "Hello? Miranda," she cried, her voice unusually frantic. "You finally answered. How could you ignore me for so long?" I remained indifferent. "What do you want?" She hesitated before carefully asking, "How have you been? Doing okay?" I didn't sugarcoat my response. "I have my own apartment, a great job, and a much better income than before. I'm living quite well." Silence stretched between us. Then, in an overly sweet tone, she finally revealed her true reason for calling. "That's wonderful to hear, Miranda. So, would you consider coming back?" A bitter laugh escaped me. "And why would I do that?" She let out a heavy sigh. "Well, truth be told, we're struggling financially." I smirked. "Let me guess, Everett's Cafe isn't even making $1,000 a month anymore? And since neither you nor Monica work, there's no other income, right?" A stunned silence followed. "How do you know that?" she spluttered. I chuckled. "Because I was the one handling all of Everett's finances. Did you really think I wouldn't notice?" She quickly tried to change tactics. "Miranda, I didn't realize how much you contributed. We always assumed Everett was taking care of everything." I scoffed. "I was giving over $3,000 a month from my salary to support you all. Meanwhile, Everett's cafe barely pulled in $800 on a good month." Desperation seeped into her voice. "Please, Miranda, come back." I feigned curiosity. "And how's Everett's cafe doing these days?" She let out a defeated sigh. "It's probably going to shut down next month. And that part-timer? She left him ages ago." I couldn't help but chuckle. Well, with no real leadership and a boss who's all talk, that's not surprising. No one wants to work under someone like that. There was no response from her end. "Well," I said, "I think that's enough conversation. I have better things to do." Panicked, she blurted out, "Wait, the house is falling apart. Nobody cleans, nobody cooks, and the kids run wild. We've been living off takeout, but we can't afford it anymore. The washing machine broke, and we have no money to replace it. Miranda, we need you." I let out a low laugh. "Oh, you mean the same washing machine you refused to replace because I was wasting money? And what about those appliances you mocked me for buying? Weren't they just for lazy people?" She faltered. "I was wrong. I never thought things would turn out like this." She tried one last time. "Miranda, we're still family. Let's help each other like before. Without you, we can't even cover property taxes. If this continues, we'll have to sell the house." I shook my head, utterly unmoved. "I don't owe you a thing. After everything you put me through, I feel nothing for you or that house." Her cries grew frantic, but I calmly ended the call and blocked her number. Leaning back in my clean, peaceful apartment, I sipped my coffee with a satisfied smile. 3 months later, I happened to walk past Everett's old cafe. It was shut down, an empty shell of failure. A for sale sign hung in front of my former in-laws' house. A passing neighbor filled me in. They had sold it in a hurry and were now crammed into a tiny apartment, constantly arguing. Neighbors complained about the noise and the filth. Clearly, they had learned nothing. I gazed at the house that once trapped me, feeling nothing but detachment. Then, without a second glance, I walked away, toward my future. Meanwhile, my life only kept getting better. Now, I have a fulfilling career, and recently, a kind and respectful coworker asked me out. We're now in a serious relationship, discussing marriage. This time, I know, I'm finally going to be truly happy. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned. "What's your favorite meal?" my mother-in-law asked warmly on the day she moved in with us. "I'd love to cook something special for you." "Oh, that's so kind of you, Charlotte," I replied with genuine appreciation. "Let me help you." "No need, Hannah, just relax, I'll take care of everything." At that moment, I believed living with my mother-in-law would be a wonderful experience. I had no idea how mistaken I was. My name is Hannah. Ever since I was a child, I've had a passion for sketching with crayons and colored pencils. That love for art stayed with me into adulthood. While studying, I took on a part-time job illustrating, which laid the foundation for my current career. Now, I work as a freelance artist, enjoying the freedom to create at my own pace. Aside from my freelance projects, I also produce short comics about modern women's daily lives for a fashion magazine. My editor often praised my work, saying, "Hannah, your illustrations always get an amazing response from our readers." It was through this job that I met my husband, Adrian. At the time, he held a key role at a major publishing company I worked with, and our relationship began as strictly professional. However, as we collaborated more, we discovered we had a lot in common, especially our shared experience of losing our fathers at a young age. Over time, our interactions extended beyond work, and we found ourselves going out for dinners and movies together. One evening, after a meal, Adrian confessed his feelings for me, and we officially began dating. Since I had never been in a relationship before, I initially doubted myself. "Really? You actually like me? I'm nothing special, I just happen to be decent at drawing," I remember saying in disbelief. "That's not true at all," Adrian reassured me. "You're incredibly talented, Hannah, and I admire how you use your gifts." His kind words made my heart flutter, and after dating for several years, we decided to get married. After our wedding, we enjoyed our life as newlyweds. Since we were both approaching our 30s, I started wondering if we should consider starting a family sooner rather than later. Around that time, Adrian brought up an unexpected proposal. Hannah, there's something I want to talk about, he said one evening. My mom is thinking about moving in with us. How do you feel about that? Oh, really? I asked, slightly surprised. Hasn't she always lived on her own? Yes, Adrian replied. I was caught off guard too, but she must have her reasons for wanting to move in now. I want to respect her feelings. I hadn't spent much time with Adrian's mother, Charlotte. Apart from our wedding and a few family gatherings, she had always struck me as kind and easygoing, with a warm smile that made me feel comfortable. Since I grew up in a single-parent household after my father passed away when I was little, the idea of having a lively home environment appealed to me. The thought of living under the same roof with Charlotte was exciting. She's been feeling lonely, Adrian continued. I used to visit often, but with work keeping me busy, I haven't been able to go as much. That must be hard for her, I sympathized. If she really wants to live with us, I think it could be nice. You don't mind? He asked, relieved. I'm so glad to hear that. And just like that, Charlotte moved in with us, and our life as a family of 3 began. Hannah, what's your favorite dish? Charlotte asked cheerfully on her first evening in our home. I want to make something just for you. That's so thoughtful, Charlotte, I said, touched. I'd love to help you in the kitchen. Oh, no need for that, dear. You just relax, I've got it covered. At first, everything was smooth. Charlotte took over most of the household chores, and I was grateful for her help, especially when my work kept me busy. But then, one evening, Adrian came home with surprising news. Hannah, he said hesitantly, I've been transferred to a different branch in another city. What? Are you serious? My heart pounded. We had only just settled into this new living arrangement. What would happen now? Would I leave with Adrian and disrupt my career? Or would I stay behind with Charlotte while he moved? Adrian, sensing my unease, tried to comfort me. If things get too difficult with my mom, just tell me, we'll figure something out. His words reassured me, and in the end, I decided to stay with Charlotte, believing I could handle it. Looking back, I realize I may have been too optimistic. At first, things remained peaceful, we respected each other's space, and I did my best to contribute, but over time, Charlotte's attitude toward me shifted. She started acting as though I wasn't pulling my weight. One morning, she said, Hannah, shouldn't you be helping more around the house? I'm sorry, I'm really swamped with work right now, I replied, showing her my tablet. I have an urgent deadline. Oh, please, she scoffed. You're just sitting around at home. Drawing on that thing isn't real work. Actually, it is, I said, trying to keep my tone calm. My illustrations bring in a steady income, and I contribute to the household expenses. Despite my explanations, she refused to believe me. She dismissed my earnings, insisting I was a freeloader, even though I gave at least $3,000 a month to support our home. She claimed the money must have come from Adrian. That's from my son, isn't it? She said dismissively. You can't seriously be earning that yourself. No, Charlotte, that's my own income, I insisted. But no matter how much I explained, she refused to acknowledge my work as legitimate. Charlotte had left her job years ago after getting married, and she spent most of her time at home or going out for social events. Despite her relaxed lifestyle, she expected me to handle more and more of the household chores, even at the expense of my job. It reached a point where her constant demands started interfering with my work, causing delays and stress. Then, one afternoon, she called out to me. Hannah, come to the living room for a moment. Curious, I walked in, tablet in hand, only to find Adrian's brother, Dominic, and his wife, Fiona, waiting. They both looked smug. Hannah, what are you doing with that tablet? Dominic sneered. I'm working, I replied, already wary. Dominic had always been arrogant and dismissive toward me, and we had never gotten along well. Still wasting time on those silly drawings? He said mockingly. It's my job, I said firmly. Fiona, who was just as condescending, added, we heard from Charlotte that you don't help out or have a real job. Maybe it's time you move out. Dominic smirked. That's right, we're going to be living here with Mom from now on. They laughed, hurling insults at me, while Charlotte watched with satisfaction. It was painful to be mocked in my own home by people who were supposed to be family. I had urgent work to finish, but they didn't seem to care in the slightest. Disgusted by their behavior, I tried to keep my focus and continue working. Charlotte, however, wasn't having it. She shot me a glare. Are you seriously ignoring me? It's incredibly rude to keep playing with that tablet, she snapped. Wait, Charlotte, what are you, Before I could even finish my sentence, she snatched my tablet from my hands and threw it onto the floor with all her strength. My breath caught in my throat. Why would you do that? I asked, stunned. Before I could reach for it, Dominic and Fiona stepped forward and, with smug grins, stomped on the fallen device, grinding their heels against it. The screen shattered, cracks spreading across the glass like a spiderweb. When I tried turning it on, nothing happened. I swallowed my anger, pressing the power button again and again, but it was useless. My tablet, the very thing I relied on for work, was completely destroyed. It was in that moment that I finally understood, there was no future for me in this house. I immediately called Adrian and told him everything. For a long moment, he was silent, probably trying to process what I'd just said. Then, over and over, he apologized. I didn't blame him personally, but hearing his remorse and unwavering support made my chest tighten. Tears welled up in my eyes. I don't want to stay here anymore, I admitted. I want to be with you, wherever you are. Adrian let out a relieved breath. Then come, we'll figure everything out together. Suddenly, the idea of moving to a more remote area didn't seem so bad. I just wanted to be with my husband, away from the toxicity I'd been enduring. Without hesitation, I began making arrangements to leave. But before I could finish packing, something unexpected happened. Charlotte arrived with Dominic and Fiona in tow, their faces tense. What are you all doing here? I asked warily. I'm busy getting ready to leave. Charlotte hesitated before speaking. Hannah, we just found out you've been contributing $3,000 a month to the household expenses. Her voice wavered, her expression unreadable. We didn't realize. We're so sorry about the other day. It was the first time she looked anything close to sincere, but I wasn't moved. I already explained this before, I reminded them, but it doesn't matter now. I've made up my mind, I'm leaving to be with Adrian. They must have finally understood what my departure meant. Without my contributions, they were about to lose a significant source of income. Charlotte's hands wrung together. Please, Hannah, she pleaded, we can still be a happy family, can't we? Fiona, less subtle, scowled. If you leave, we'll have to come up with that $3,000 ourselves. That's not fair. Dominic suddenly turned to their mother, fury in his eyes. Mom, this is your fault. You broke her tablet, then treated her like garbage even though she was the one paying the bills. The room erupted into a heated argument, with the three of them blaming each other. They no longer cared about me, they were just desperate to shift responsibility. I ignored the chaos and continued packing. Then, as if realizing she was losing the battle, Charlotte suddenly changed her approach. Hannah, she said softly, almost pitifully, even if you move in with Adrian, would you still send us money? I let out a dry, humorless laugh. Why would I do that? We need it, she insisted. Otherwise, we won't be able to manage. For the first time, she looked genuinely afraid of what lay ahead. I crossed my arms. I've already given more than enough. Whatever happens next is on you. Silence stretched between us, but then, in a barely audible voice, Charlotte mumbled, I spent all the money at a nightclub. A stunned hush fell over the room. Dominic's face twisted with rage. Are you serious, Mom? Charlotte sniffled. I've been so lonely since your father passed away. I just wanted to escape for a while. My sympathy for her had long since run dry. That's not my problem, I said firmly. I won't be responsible for your reckless spending. Fiona exhaled sharply, rubbing her temples as if she, too, had finally had enough. Charlotte's shoulders slumped, as if the weight of her actions had just caught up to her. The realization that she wouldn't be getting another cent from me seemed to hit her all at once. Dominic, awkward and clearly regretful, mumbled, maybe we can all start fresh. I shook my head. No, I'm done. And with that, I walked away from them for good. After I moved in with Adrian, life became peaceful. The countryside was quiet, the air fresh, and I could finally focus on my work without constant stress. Not long after settling in, we received wonderful news. We were expecting a baby. It was something we had dreamed of, and now, everything was finally falling into place. Ironically, my last comic, a semi-autobiographical piece, ended up gaining attention. It resonated deeply with many readers, especially women who had experienced similar struggles. Then, one day, I received a call from Charlotte. Oh, Charlotte, I answered, already suspecting what she wanted. What's wrong? Her voice was frantic. Hannah, that comic you published, it's obviously about us. Why would you expose everything like that? I remained calm. People write about what they know, and besides, the truth has a way of coming out eventually. You've ruined everything, she wailed. The whole family found out about the nightclub, and now they're furious. I had to sell my house to pay off debts. I simply sighed. Sounds like a personal problem. That was the last real conversation I had with her. After selling her house, Charlotte had no choice but to move in with Dominic and Fiona, but with money already tight, things only got worse. Eventually, Fiona left Dominic for another man, leaving him miserable. As for Adrian and me, we were thriving. Our baby arrived safely, and my career flourished. Thanks to the success of my comic, I landed new illustration opportunities with another fashion magazine. Looking back, I realized that if it hadn't been for all the chaos with Charlotte, Dominic, and Fiona, I might never have found this fulfilling life. In a strange way, their cruelty had pushed me toward true happiness. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned. Hello, my name is Tiana, and I carry the weight of being a widow. I lost my beloved husband at a young age due to an unexpected illness. He wasn't just my partner in life, he was my soulmate and closest friend. After his passing, I leaned on my family for comfort. My parents offered their support, but my brother, Desmond, reacted differently. Instead of understanding my emotional turmoil, he seemed more concerned with the financial implications of my situation. My late husband had left me a sizable estate and a considerable amount of money, although I also earned a steady income working from home. None of that could replace the immense void his absence left in my life. If given the choice, I would have surrendered every penny just to have him back. Unfortunately, Desmond showed little interest in my grief. Tiana, he remarked one evening, you're in a great financial position. You should consider using some of that money for Elaine. You don't have kids of your own. I was stunned, momentarily at a loss for words. Desmond, I replied cautiously, I just lost my husband. Right now, money is the last thing on my mind. But Desmond and his wife, Monica, who had a stepdaughter named Elaine, continued to push the idea. They seemed convinced that, because I was financially stable and childless, I should direct my resources toward their family. Monica even suggested that spending time with Elaine would be a way for me to experience motherhood. It would be good for you, Tiana, she said at a family gathering. Elaine could benefit from your care, and it might bring you fulfillment. You have so much to offer. Taken aback by her persistence, I firmly responded, I appreciate your thoughts, Monica, but right now, my focus is on healing. Despite my clear stance, Desmond and Monica kept pressuring me. Even my parents were visibly uncomfortable with their behavior. I was angry that my own brother would try to take advantage of me during such a vulnerable time. More than that, I barely knew Elaine well enough for them to assume I'd step into a parental role. As the days went by, their insistence didn't waver. One afternoon, Desmond showed up at my home. Tiana, you're financially comfortable, and you don't have children. What's the harm in helping Elaine? It's not like you can't afford it, he argued. Fury bubbled inside me. Desmond, Elaine is your responsibility, not mine. I'm not her mother, and I am not an ATM for you to withdraw from whenever you please, I snapped. His face flushed, but I wasn't finished. I am still grieving. How dare you try to manipulate me like this? Desmond muttered an apology, but I refused to let him off the hook. She is your daughter, and you are the one responsible for her upbringing, not me. Though I made my position clear, they didn't stop. They repeatedly brought up my financial situation as though it justified their expectations. I held my ground, making it clear that my wealth didn't entitle them to anything. My strong reaction finally silenced them for a while, likely because they saw how displeased the rest of the family was. But the peace didn't last. One morning, Desmond delivered shocking news. Tiana, he said gravely, Monica is missing. We think she's having a mental health crisis, and the police are involved. I stared at him in disbelief. What? Since when? It's been 3 days, he admitted. I didn't want to worry everyone, but it's serious now. Elaine keeps asking for her mom. I don't know what to do. As the days passed with no sign of Monica, Desmond relied on our family to help care for Elaine, who was deeply distressed. Since it was summer break, Elaine needed someone to look after her when Desmond was at work. Eventually, he came to me again, this time looking genuinely desperate. Tiana, I know we haven't been on the best terms, but I really need your help. Elaine is heartbroken and cries for her mom every night. I can't leave her with a stranger all day. Please, can you take care of her for a while? I hesitated, torn between frustration and sympathy. All right, Desmond, I finally agreed. But this is temporary. Your priority needs to be finding Monica. Relief washed over his face. Thank you, I knew I could count on you. From then on, Desmond dropped Elaine off at my place every day before work. He assured me she wouldn't be any trouble. I took on the responsibility, allowing him to focus on his job without worrying about her well-being. At first, Elaine was understandably upset, but as time passed, she grew comfortable in my home. I provided her with meals, toys, and care, lifting some of the burden from Desmond. Slowly, she adjusted, and her spirits improved. She even started looking forward to spending time with me. Our arrangement, initially meant to be short-term, soon became routine. One evening, as Desmond came to pick Elaine up, he sat beside me with a serious expression. Tiana, he began softly, I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you've done. Elaine is thriving here, and I've been thinking. I narrowed my eyes. Desmond, what exactly are you about to suggest? He hesitated, then finally said it. Would you consider taking her in permanently? You live alone, you have the space, and Elaine loves being here. I think it would be best for her. I gaped at him. Desmond, you can't just dump this on me. Elaine needs her father right now. Handing her over to me is not the answer, I said firmly. I know it's a lot to ask, he admitted, but please think about what's best for her. She needs stability, and I can't give her that right now. The rest of the family joined in, pressuring me to take Elaine in. Eventually, I relented. Fine, I sighed, but this is only temporary. Desmond looked relieved. Thank you, Tiana, I promise, once things are settled, you won't have to worry about Elaine anymore. Over time, Elaine became a permanent part of my household. I set up a room for her, bought her new clothes and toys, and made her feel at home. We developed a strong bond, and she started seeing me as a parental figure. Then, one day, she told me something shocking. You're so nice, Aunt Tiana, she said sweetly. I love you. Smiling, I replied, I love you too, Elaine, you're like my own child. She nodded. Mom always said we'd live here one day. She said you wouldn't mind. Confused, I asked, when did she say that? Elaine hesitated, then whispered, she told me all the time. She said not to tell you, but I don't like secrets. Mom has been here before. A cold chill ran down my spine. What do you mean, she's been here? Elaine looked guilty but continued, she used the keys Dad has. She comes inside sometimes when you're not home. Stunned, I pieced together the truth. Monica had been sneaking into my house all along, using the spare key Desmond had for Elaine's visits. It had all been planned. They had deceived me from the start. I pressed further. Elaine, why is your mother pretending to be missing? What's really going on here? She hesitated, her small voice shaking. She wants you to take me in as your child, Elaine admitted. Mom says you're rich, and since you don't have kids, you'd be the best person to take care of me. The weight of her words hit me like a freight train. The sheer level of deception and manipulation left me speechless. My own brother and sister-in-law had plotted this entire scheme behind my back, using Elaine as a pawn. Does Desmond know about this? Is he part of the plan? I asked, still trying to process everything. Elaine hesitated before nodding. Yes. They told me not to tell you and to pretend Mom was gone, but I love you, so I wanted to tell you the truth. Please don't be mad at me, she pleaded. My heart ached for her. She was just a child caught in the middle of her parents' greed. Oh, sweetheart, I'm not upset with you, I reassured her. Thank you for trusting me, you did the right thing. Inside, though, I was seething. Desmond and Monica had shamelessly exploited my kindness and wealth, scheming behind my back for their own gain. Their actions weren't just selfish, they were downright disgusting. It made me sick to think they had manipulated their own daughter just to secure my money. But if they thought they could get away with it, they were dead wrong. I decided to catch them red-handed. First, I informed my housekeeper about the situation and instructed her to be extra vigilant. She was embarrassed that someone had been sneaking in under her watch, but I assured her it wasn't her fault. My brother gave Monica a key. You couldn't have known, I said. Elaine and I came up with a plan to expose the truth once and for all. The next day, I pretended to leave for a shopping trip. After driving around the neighborhood for a while, I quietly returned home. My housekeeper gave me a subtle signal, confirming that someone had entered the house. I made my way to Elaine's room, where she was playing with her toys. She glanced at me, then pointed toward the closet. Taking a deep breath, I yanked the closet door open, and there she was. Monica. Her face drained of color the moment she saw me. Care to explain what you're doing in my house, hiding in my closet? I demanded. She stammered, scrambling for an excuse. I was just here to see my daughter, she said weakly. Really? I shot back. And who exactly gave you permission to come into my home? Last I checked, you were supposed to be missing. She fidgeted nervously. Desmond gave me the key. I just missed Elaine so much, I couldn't stay away. Then why did Elaine tell me you'd been sneaking in every time I leave? Do you have an answer for that? Monica's eyes darted around the room, searching for a way out. She's just a child, she attempted to dismiss. You can't believe everything she says. I glared at her. Actually, that's exactly why I believe her. Children don't make up things like this on their own. You coached her, used her, and lied to me. You should be ashamed of yourself. The weight of her actions finally seemed to sink in. I could see the panic in her eyes. You know, I continued, my voice icy, I could have you arrested for trespassing right now. Monica visibly trembled. Tiana, please, she whispered, there's no need to call the police. I swear, I only came back today. I folded my arms. Then why has Desmond been telling everyone he hasn't heard from you? Stop lying, Monica. Elaine already told me everything. Desperation flooded her face. Tiana, you have to understand, I was just trying to do what's best for Elaine. I'm a struggling mother. I cut her off. Oh, really? Is that why you told her you'd be moving in with me? You thought you could manipulate me into taking care of you and your daughter while you played the victim? Monica opened her mouth, but no words came out. The sound of approaching sirens filled the air. Yes, I had already called the police. As they pulled up outside, Monica tried to run, but I grabbed her wrist. You're not going anywhere, I said firmly. The officers arrived, took my statement, and placed Monica under arrest. They were stunned by what they heard, immediately alerting CPS to investigate further. With Monica in custody, Desmond was about to face the consequences of his own actions. I wasted no time heading to my parents' house, where we called Desmond and demanded he come over. He showed up looking anxious, no doubt realizing his plan had crumbled. He refused to meet my eyes. Do you have anything to say for yourself? I asked coldly. Don't bother lying, I already know everything. Desmond hesitated before sighing. I'm sorry, Tiana, but we only did what we thought was best for Elaine. You have the resources to provide her with a great life. Since you don't have kids of your own, we figured. I cut him off. No, Desmond, you did this for yourself. If you really cared about Elaine, you would have worked hard to give her a stable home. Instead, you abandoned her and tried to manipulate me into raising her. You weren't thinking about her, you were thinking about your own future. Desmond squirmed uncomfortably. I don't care what you wanted, I snapped. You used me, you betrayed me, I have always helped you, and this is how you repay me? From now on, you're on your own. Elaine is going to be with her father, where she belongs, and don't even think about asking me for money ever again. Desmond looked stunned. He turned to our parents for support, but they only shook their heads in disappointment. That night, he showed up at my doorstep, pleading. Tiana, please, Monica is in jail, CPS is investigating, and we have no money for bail. I don't know what to do. I looked at him, completely unmoved. You and Monica did this to yourselves. Actions have consequences. Elaine's father is taking her back, and that's where she should be. I slammed the door in his face. From what I later heard, Desmond and Monica found themselves abandoned. No one was willing to help them anymore. Meanwhile, Elaine was safely reunited with her father, who was beyond grateful for the care I had provided. Although I still check in on Elaine from time to time, my life has returned to normal. And as for Desmond and Monica, well, they got exactly what they deserved. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.